everybody. So this is Christina. I'm from VFX Now, which is a sister company of GPL. So Qumulo has been a strategic partner for GPL for years now, and just been kind of a huge partner here. Working together, we have been able to introduce a lot of new clients for the media and entertainment industry, which I know is a big vertical right now for unstructured data. And we've had a lot of great large clients that we've been able to pitch and work on together. So we're excited to be able to have them tell a little bit more about their services right now. And I'm going to pass this over to Brian from the Qumulo side, who will be able to tell us a little bit more about what we're going to see here in the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christine. Thanks everyone for joining today. We really appreciate everyone attending. What we're going to go through today is just a kind of a high level, where we fit, where we're successful, talk a little bit about how Qumulo is radically simple, how we scale anywhere and forever. We're going to talk a little bit about our core differentiators, how we're flexible, we give you freedom of choice on premises or in the cloud with a few hardware vendors right now, looking to add a few more, and we're in all three clouds. How we scale simply to billions of files, how we give you real-time visibility. We're going to dive into the GUI and do a demo here at the end that will really, it's the aha moment when people see kind of what we can do and how granular we can actually get from a real-time visibility standpoint. And then we'll just close it off at the end, talking a little bit about our modern customer experience, a little bit about our accolades if people don't know us and know that we've been in the Magic Quadrant for several years. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Anderson, who's the Territory Account Manager out in California, in charge of M&E, and Sean Walbridge is his Senior System Engineer that's going to be running through the demo for you here today. So Matt, over to you, my friend.
Thanks, BK. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You stole my thunder.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
It's all good. It's all good. Guys, just really appreciate your time jumping on the webinar today. I'm sure that what Sean's going to show you is definitely more of probably what you're looking for from your storage platforms. Sean and I both been in the media and entertainment industry for 20 plus years, and we've seen, you know, a lot of stuff come and go, and Qumulo has been really one of those more convincing solutions that we feel is definitely going to have the capability to really take us into the next incantation of what media and entertainment workflows look like. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sean and let him run through our presentation.
Hi. So I'm just going to go through minimal number of slides and then really just show the product, which is really where the value from Qumulo, once you see it, it's just amazing. So Qumulo was founded in 2012. We were started by some of the founders of Isilon, and after they left Isilon after EMC bought them. We've got customers around the world, over close to 800 installations. We're based out of Seattle, but we've got support around the world, and we've got deployments around the world. We're a software company, so we ship on OEM third-party hardware, and we can run natively in the cloud. And if you look on Gartner Peer Insights, it's kind of like the Yelp of technology, and you can see that we're at 4.9 out of 5, which is extremely high. So our customers recommend us to other customers. So this is the usual kind of media and entertainment workflow. You've got your data coming in with modeling and rigging and your cameras, and then that goes over to the artists on the floor doing animation and simulations, and then you need to render that, and that all works with Qumulo, and then the ability to burst to the cloud running Qumulo in AWS or GCP or even Azure as a service. It just gives you that flexibility to run Qumulo on-prem and in the cloud, which makes a really powerful story for lots of the visual effects companies and media and entertainment companies that use Qumulo. This is our core underlying software. We have NFS, SMB, S3 is the front-end protocol now with Active Directory and LDAP integration. We've got our REST API, and we've got our web-based GUI, which I'll show in a minute. But then underneath that, we've got our replication, snapshots, quotas, audit logging, and the ability to shift data to S3. And underlying the file system, we've got RealTime Analytics that we aggregate all the metadata onto SSDs, so we don't have to do tree walks on your data to show you what's happening on your system. And then we can massively scale the size of your cluster and the number of files that you store on it. We've got customers with over 1 billion files in a single namespace, and we don't have any issues with small files. We've got customers with millions of PDFs that are super, super small in a single directory. And like I said, we run on different hardware. We've got hardware compatibility lists with OEMs, including HPE, Arrow, and Supermicro, and then we're looking at expanding that. But then we can also run in all the hyperscalers. So one of the things about Qumulo is we are a software company, and from the beginning, they designed Qumulo with kind of modern technology in mind. So we are software defined. We don't have any special hardware in the machines, and which is what allows us to run in the cloud natively. But we're also an agile software development company. So we do a ton of unit testing. We ship releases every 2 weeks, but we've got our quarterly roll-ups that you can deploy. And we run in a container on the system, so we're able to bring up for our software updates, we can bring up the new update, the new code in a new container, and then move the IPs over and shut down the old one. So we have what we call non-disruptive updates. It takes about 20 seconds to update a cluster. And over time, we keep adding more and more features. And with our licensing, it's all in one. So you get all of the new features every time something new comes out. We're just finishing up S3 as the front-end protocol and NFS v4.1 with encryption. And then we've got a lot of new cool things coming. So we're proven throughout the industry. We've got lots and lots of studios, lots on here, others that we can't use their logo, but all the big studios around town use us. And that's pretty much it for the slides. I'm going to get into the demo because I think that's really the powerful part of Qumulo. So this is our dashboard. It shows basically a high-level view of what's happening on the cluster. This shows that we're at 92%, which with Qumulo, we don't have an issue running at nearly full capacity. I personally ran my Qumulo clusters at 99.2% for well over 6 months. Just in a visual effects world, you've got data coming in, but then you're also cleaning up after renders finish. So we were kind of just walking that fine line. And we knew we didn't need to add more capacity, and we didn't have any performance impact. This is a demo cluster, so it's 4 nodes. It's got 12 million files on it, 140,000 directories. But the nice thing with Qumulo is you can see in real time what's going on your cluster and with your data. So here we can see the IOPS and the throughput for the cluster in real time. And then down here, you can see the read and write throughput distribution, the client distribution, how many clients are connected to each node, and your most active clients in throughput, and then just the average trends over the last little bit. When I was a customer, I hated leaving on Friday and I have plenty of space and come in on Monday and all of a sudden someone's dumped a ton of data onto the cluster or render went nuts over the weekend. So my first thing to look at with our capacity was our capacity trends, which shows you the change over time. So here it's showing the last 72 hours, but you can go back a month or a year. And this shows you your capacity history. This is a demo cluster, so it's got simulated data on it. So it's fairly consistent, but you can, in real world, you can see this go up and down. But then down here, you see data added to the cluster and then data removed from the cluster. And the real powerful thing is you can actually see this, see that where the data landed on the cluster or was removed, so you can dig into what happened and where that data is. So here we see a bunch of data was added to these folders. Based on that, I can now go in and look at our Capacity Explorer to see what's in those directories. And this really is kind of the nicest feature. As an administrator, being able to see in real time where your data is on your cluster and see how big it is, so you can really drill down and figure out what's on the cluster. And this is all real time. We store all of the metadata in SSDs, so it's really, really fast to do lookups, and we never have to do what's considered a tree walk. So then the other thing that's always a concern is just people complain that everything's slow, and here's the ability to look at the activity on the cluster to identify what's going on. And you can see the client normally would have the reverse DNS, but again, this is a demo cluster. So being able to go in and see who's accessing what files that are could be potentially causing performance issues for everybody else. So you can see their throughput and IOPS. This is by client, but you can also see it by path. And you can see who's hitting what directories and how much throughput and IOPS they're using. This is great for identifying render farms that are hitting one specific file or anything like that. And then if you wanted a more holistic view of what's going on in the cluster, you can see this view here, which is kind of just a more graphical view of what's happening on the cluster and who's accessing the data. This is by throughput. You can also view it by IOPS. We support NFS. This cluster is a little older, so it's got NFS and SMB. Again, NFS v4.1 is an option with encryption, running Active Directory. And then we also support S3 or SMB. We have a very, very powerful cross-protocol permissions system underlying everything. So we can actually support SMB and NFS on the same cluster, accessing the same data, and it works really well. Creating share is really simple. You just give it all the information. We've got Active Directory and LDAP integration, so you can, as you can see here, these are local accounts, but you can also tie these to AD. Standard enterprise, you can do quotas. You can delete quotas and change quotas. Very, very simple. It's one of the things about Qumulo is it's just very, very simple.